Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today with a overall Fallout discussion video. It's been a while since we've had a Fallout discussion, and instead of deciding whether or not we like one aspect of a game or another, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point in the future, this week I wanted to do a little more of uniting in the community because it seems there's been a lot of divided opinions. I think it's because we don't have a universal goal. I think for all of us, we all want the best in the Fallout franchise. So I was sitting there and thinking to myself, what's a topic that I could talk about to kind of help kickstart that mentality for the Fallout community in some way? And I started thinking to myself that maybe we should talk about what we like in each Fallout game and what would be our ideal Fallout game. Now, mind you, what I'm saying should not be considered the ideal Fallout game, but it's my personal opinion, and what this video is supposed to do is for you guys to share in the comments down below what you think your ideal Fallout game would be, combining each element of each Fallout game you've ever played. So for me, I'm going to be going through Fallout 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, and 4, and talking about what I liked in each game, and what aspect from each game I think should be included in the next Fallout game, and if all these are put together, it would be, for me personally, my ideal Fallout game. So let's get started, and we're just gonna go from beginning to end and go with Fallout 1. And we're gonna start off with this by saying I want the original and unfamiliar story from Fallout 1. The big benefit of Fallout being such a hit series is because of the universe it's set in and its really awesome lore that is both relatable, possible, and interesting at the same time. It's what really hooked me in, and there's really no other video game universe that has done that for me in the past, aside from Kingdom Hearts, which is the complete opposite. But having that original and unfamiliar story, something I've really never heard before, something that's very different from anything else out there, that's always a one-up for me personally. When I'm playing a game and it has a good story, that's great, but when it's something I've never really experienced in this fresh universe, something along those lines, bringing new aspects in, for me, that's what I feel that Fallout 1 did very well. I think Fallout 4 also did this well. The story of the Institute was very fresh because of the fact that there wasn't any of the Enclave like we've seen every single game. You know, it was a very fresh feeling, and I really appreciated that. So there is room for that in the future if they properly establish new lore and explore new factions and new locations like they do in every Fallout game, and just implement those properly. I think they can take that aspect from Fallout 1 and put it into the next Fallout game. Moving on to the next Fallout game, Fallout 2. What do I want from that? Fallout 2 has a lot of great things for it, and I think the best one of them all is its humor. This game is absolutely hilarious, and I've mentioned this time and time again on the podcast, but the most standout moment in this game, two of them, were some of the funniest quests I've done. One was being a porn star. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was playing Fallout, but I was being a porn star in New Reno. And the other one that was really crazy to me is that I actually earned experience at one point and leveled up because I talked to a nurse and she asked me in Vault City if I wanted to donate my sperm. Yeah, if I wanted to donate my sperm, and I got XP and I leveled up, and I was like, only in Fallout 2, and I got a good laugh out of it. And I was thinking to myself, stuff like this, stuff like the prank call to the Enclave, stuff that doesn't have to be in the game, that type of stuff is absolutely funny in my eyes, and there will be no scenes like that ever in a Fallout game that are just as memorable. But I'd like for other Fallout games to go for that type of humor, just that outlandish, crazy, ridiculous humor where it's just like, yes, this is a serious universe and it's all doom and gloom, but you know what, it's also kind of hilarious. And I really appreciated that about Fallout 2. It was a game that put a smile on my face a lot of the times if I wasn't raging at it when I first was getting around that learning curve. And so I really just appreciated the humor where it was just really constantly breaking down that fourth wall, which is something while you're playing the game I realized I wasn't a giant fan of, but it was afterwards. Fallout 2 left such a great taste in my mouth because there were so many moments I was smiling and laughing at something, and that's something rare for a game aside from like South Park Stick of Truth. That game's hilarious. But anyway, the next one is Fallout 3. What do we want from Fallout 3? Fallout 3 is likely the first Fallout game for a lot of us, and for me personally, if I was to take any specific aspect out of Fallout 3, although it's my favorite one of the entire bunch, I'd probably have to go with its atmosphere. Fallout 3 nailed its setting perfectly. Could not have asked for a better location in a Fallout game. Seeing the entire Capital Wasteland and all these landmarks that you've come to know and love absolutely destroyed for the first time in an open, explorable world, it's hard to really replicate that same atmosphere in Fallout 3, and I think we realize what happens when you try to replicate it almost too much. You get Fallout 4, which is for a lot of people a fresh world, but for also a lot of people is a world that felt really almost too familiar, which I completely understand. So I was thinking to myself that maybe something that kind of just takes a new setting and just nails it so perfectly. It wasn't that Fallout 3 was in the capital wasteland, so that's why it was so good. For me, it was just because it went into this area and did everything just right. Whether it was, like I said, the landmarks felt great, the music was great, the cast was great, you know, everything about it was great, and it all just meshed well together to bring the world to life in a very unique fashion that is unlike lots of video games, where I'm walking around this very bleak wasteland with dimmed colors, really nothing specifically interesting to see, but yet this music is so uplifting that's playing, and you're hearing a cheerful radio host, and you're like, well, shouldn't people be kind of down in the dumps? But you see they're kind of accepting their fate and moving on with it. I really appreciated the atmosphere in Fallout 3 because, much like everything else I've mentioned earlier, it's something that I never experienced, and so I think if they went to a new location, I couldn't imagine where, and just really took it and just nailed it down, made it their own, kind of like how other Fallout games have done, but really to the expertise that I think Fallout 3 was. I think that could really move the series forward. Moving on to New Vegas, I think New Vegas did choices remarkably well. Now, I know a lot of old school Fallout fans will say, well, Fallout 1 and 2 did choices even better. There was a way to play the game time and time again, and I absolutely understand that. But I think the reason I'm appreciating New Vegas's choices is because A, it was done in like a year and a half, but B, and mind you, yes, Fallout 2 was done in roughly the same amount of time, so I guess you can't really use that as a leverage point. But the other thing I'm focusing on is that in New Vegas, you have to realize that they put this in like the open world like Fallout 3 and had all these choices, which is harder to do than the isometric strategy games like in Fallout 1 and 2. So for me, I really did appreciate those choices in New Vegas because there was a lot of flexibility, a lot of outcomes, a lot of side quests. They all played together in the end, and since the production value is higher, it costs more money to do that. I'm much more appreciative that you could have that value of choice in a game like that, especially in, like I said, how little time it had to be created. Although Chris Avallone told me that, yeah, it didn't really make a big difference for us. Still, for us gamers, we got to appreciate how good they are at their job to do that so quickly and do it so well. So I really did like New Vegas's choices. I think we can all agree on that. And then for Fallout 4, this is probably the most divisive one because there's so many aspects that were new to it that I really liked, but I couldn't really pick one. And I was leaning towards the settlement mode, something that really expanded it, but I decided to go with something more specific. I wanted to go with Fallout 4's emotion. For me personally, mind you, my personal opinion, I really appreciated the emotion in Fallout 4. I know a lot of fans of the Fallout franchise feel that Bethesda forced the emotion by saying, well, you're a part of this family, so you have to care. And I get that, but for me, I cared anyway. It wasn't like I felt like I had to. I cared anyway. I was put in that situation. I was like, okay, I'm the family man. Wow, my son's missing. My wife died. Wow, this is awful. And then, you know, big plot twists, kind of very overwhelming experience at the time. I really enjoyed the emotion because I was invested in the story. It wasn't like Fallout 3 where even during my first playthrough I was kind of like, yeah, I'll get around to it. And then, you know, once I did all the side quests in the game, I was like, okay, I'll go do the main story now. For me, when I was doing side quests in Fallout 4, I was kind of walking around wondering, I wonder what happens next in the main story. When should I dive back into it? I don't want to push through it too fast though because I really like it. And that's how I know when I like a main story, lies, because I take my time with it. I don't want to push through it, but when it's in an open world game, I just find myself doing a lot of things on the outside, not because I don't want to experience it, but because I want to savor that experience because it's so good. And I think the emotion in Fallout 4 was really well done, mainly due to its voice acting. The voice acting in Fallout 4 was fantastic. They just nailed every key moment in the game when it had to be nailed. I'm not saying that across the board all the voice acting was fantastic, but whenever there was an emotional note that had to be hit in Fallout 4 to get you to feel or think or just laugh, whatever, it was there. And I really appreciated that effort, that extra step from Bethesda, and it really brought the universe to life in a unique way. But anyway, for me, if you combine the original story from Fallout 1, the humor from Fallout 2, the atmosphere from Fallout 3, the choices from New Vegas, and the emotion from Fallout 4, for me, you have that ideal Fallout game. Mind you, this is my, once again for the third time, personal opinion. So if you guys disagree with that, sound off in the comments down below and let me know what your ideal Fallout game is. The point of this video is to get people to kind of start talking about what they like in a Fallout game, not what they don't like, because I get that pessimism shows that we don't like something and that it should be weeded out, but also I think we should talk about more about what we like, what made each Fallout game special, and what we've consistently liked about each Fallout game, so going forward we kind of know together what we should expect from the next Fallout game, because I think that obviously we want the next one to be a real actual hit that we can all sit here and agree with, that yes, there will be criticisms no matter what, but that we can, for the majority of us, sit here and be like, you know what, Fallout 5, we'll say, was absolutely fantastic. And I think discussions like this need to start happening now to kind of start getting an idea for the development team what they want. I know they don't crowdsource their ideas, but we know that Bethesda or whomever will be working on Fallout next will have to start quite early. So if they're kind of just getting a feel for what people think, maybe this is a video that they could go to. I don't know. I'm not saying that my word is the one that they have to listen to. I'm saying that you guys are the ones who are important, and you guys should speak up and let them know what you like. Let them know what you don't like. But yeah, just be kind about it and just be very precise and concise with your thoughts. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little discussion. I thought it was something a bit different, and I'm really looking forward to reading your thoughts in the comments down below, so be sure to toss them down there. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Other than that, be sure to check out sugarbomb.com, the place by Bethesda fans for Bethesda fans. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.